This is a reading for Pisces moons, suns, and Pisces rising. This reading is taking place in November, the beginning of November, around the full moon during Scorpio season. And we are entering the second decan of Scorpio season, which rules family and the people closest to us and our relations in that regard. If you are a Pisces moon, this reading will reflect the parts of you that might be more hidden in regards to things that you feel that you might not necessarily let show. It could be the ground beneath your feet in a sense of what kind of is the basis of it all. If you are a Pisces sun, this is your basic ego stuff, from what you choose to wear, what you choose to eat, your basic ego. You know, do you have the confidence to try on that thing that you really want to wear? How do you feel getting up in the morning? Your basic ego stuff. So that would be your sun. And then if you have a Pisces rising, this is how you move through the world. So this reading will address the way that other people see you, the way that you move through the world, the kind of decisions that you make when you are caught in a bind and maybe you need to rise above a situation and choose from that vantage point. So that this is a reading for Pisces moon, Pisces suns, and Pisces rising. I'm recording this during November, around the full moon. And the full moon rules things to celebrate, things coming to fruition. And we're in the second decan of Scorpio season when I'm recording this. And that rules things like relationships with the people that you're closest to in your immediate family, or your chosen family. I'm letting you know that because everything is energy, and so you might see this 6 months down the line from when it's been recorded, and this reading still applies to you, but it gives you a little clue as to where the bookmark is. If you need further clarification, look back to what were you doing around the beginning of November, around the 3rd of November, around the full moon in Scorpio season, and what was going on for you. And if you happen to come up upon this reading in the future, you can use that knowledge to kind of look and see what was going on. You can look up what your transits were. You can just remember. You can look in your journal. You can just think. You can ask, what was going on at that point in time. So here we go. Pisces. Currently, right now, while I'm shuffling this deck, we have a grand trine in water going on. We've got some major outer planets, the slowest moving planets in retrograde. And a water trine basically means that things are harmoniously or easily moving in regards to emotional aspects. Water tends to rule emotions, but it also rules the dream world, the dreams that we have, our psychic intuition. It rules all that jazz. So here we go. If you have a Pisces rising, Pisces moon, Pisces sun, this reading's for you. All right, so the first card I drew, I didn't want it to be true, so I put it back. It was the 5 of Cups, I believe. Yeah, it was the 5 of Cups. So you can look that up if you want to. But I was like, well, what is the message that Pisces most wants to hear that is going to be the most good news for Pisces? But here's what I got. So what I've got here is this card, which is the 7 of Swords. And then I've got this card, which is the 4 of Wands. Very different, very, very different cards. So what I'm going to say, we are in Scorpio season when I'm drawing these cards. And this message, you know, quantum entanglement, the theory of quantum entanglement is that there is entanglement between space and time to where time can fold in on itself. It's not always so relevant exactly the moment in time that something is happening, because it can be that same moment in time for you in the future. So for example, a song could be recorded. It could mean one thing at one moment in time when it's recorded, and then it reaches the ears of a particular listener a year, 2, 10, 20, 40 years later. And that meaning, that song still has meaning, and it still has an impact as if it were the day that it was created. So, but you do have the dates and times for when these things occurred. So what in this card, I would ask you, because the traditional way is just to give you what does this card mean? But I would ask you to look at this card and just see what part of the card pops out at you the most. So for me, it might be, oh, look at that red hat. It's like a very interesting hat. It looks like you could actually like put things in it. It's just like, it looks so cool. Like it's sitting on top of the head of the person who's smiling and having a great time. So that part sticks out to me the most. So I would ask you, what part sticks out on this card out of everything? What's popping out the most? And then I would ask you to say to it, what do you have to tell me? You know, I would have you describe it. So I just described the hat as it's on top of the head, and it looks like you could put things in it. And then I would say, well, change that to the words I. So replace any noun that you can with the word I or me. So I am on top of my own stuff. I am on top of my own head. I am on top of it. And so much so that I could be filled up. I could put things inside of myself. I could so start thinking of it in more of like taking the words of the nouns out of it. So the thing, you know, so what is it for you? Maybe it's the boots. Maybe it's the swords. Maybe it's the smile. You know, and then you could be like, this person is smiling and looking behind them. So then you would change those words to I am smiling as I am looking behind myself. The next thing that I would ask you to do with this card is look at the number. So this is 7. What does 7 mean for you? Do you have any associations with the number 7? So you might say, oh, to me, 7, I think of the number L when it's upside down. Or you could say, you know, I have always believed 7 is the perfect number. Or 7 reminds me of winning in the lottery or the gambling. Or I love number 7 because I think it's a divine number and it's so spiritual. Whatever 7. What do you associate with 7? Then you can look to numerology and you can think of what does 7 in numerology mean. It can mean faith. It can mean, that is 7, right? It can mean faith. It can mean going off the cuff. It can mean belief. It can mean surrender. And then I would say, what is the character in the card doing? What if you could make up a story as to what they are doing? What would it be? Now we're in Scorpio season, and Scorpio has to do with secrets, but it also has to do with unlimited possibilities, and it also has to do with protection. So here we have like someone is like walking away from a circus, and they very much look like they could be somebody who performs in that circus, but they are taking some of the things from that place. It appears as if they are taking some of the things away from that place. In some interpretations, they would say that it's stealing. And 7 being a number of spiritual energy. Before I even drew this card today, I was getting a little download for you, Pisces, and that is about energy. So energy is a really interesting thing because energy rubs off on us, and energy can be taken and it can be given. And in this particular case, we have someone taking some energy, but not all of it. There's 7 swords in this picture, and they are taking how many? 5. They're taking 5 of it. So they're taking a lot of the energy. And what kind of energy is it? Does swords represent fighting to you, or does swords represent the truth of the matter? And in the tarot, swords represents truth, and it represents communication. So it could be taking or moving some energy in regards to the truth and what is going on. Like, this is one of those cards that's like, it's really up for interpretation. And I can't help but notice that this person has their hands around these swords, but there's no blood. So are they fake swords? I don't see them bleeding. It's not hurting them that they're carrying these swords. So are they props? What exactly is it? So it doesn't necessarily always mean thievery, although it can. But the download that I was getting for you, Pisces, in regards to energy was energy can be taken and it can be exchanged and it can be given. And what I, as a Pisces, forget sometimes is how energy can really stick around. And we're at a time in the season when I'm pulling this card where the veils are very thin. I was reminded recently by my Libra friend to do cord cutting rituals. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with you. Cord cutting rituals are, I have a beautiful, beautiful piece of selenite. It's in the shape of a sword. And it's where you kind of symbolically imagine yourself just kind of cleaning away or cutting away anything that no longer serves you. For those of us who are more kinesthetic, we can do a whole performance or ritual or practice around it if we really want to get into it. And I highly recommend that for people who are like dancers and people who are really like to be in their body. This can be something that can be really useful, where you just kind of imagine kind of cutting away anything that no longer serves. And she described it as, how when you fall asleep at night after you've been around a lot of people, you kind of hear, bits and pieces of conversation as you're starting to fall asleep, as if the conversation's still happening, even though it's not still happening, but it's like it's been happening so much that you feel like it's with you still. Or when you've been at the water slides all day and you go to sleep and you still feel like you're on a water slide as you're going to sleep. You still feel a little woozy and spinny. So this is great, to remember, especially with a trine in water, just kind of cut and clear. It doesn't have to, I'm just going to say it. It doesn't have to be seen as something harsh or something cruel. It can literally just be, moving energy. So this person is moving energy from one space to another. It looks like these swords came from these tents, and this person is taking that energy, those energetic things, to another location, and not carrying more than what he's able to carry at the time, but he has faith that he's going to get the rest of them, I'm sure. And 7 is all about faith. Energy, it has a way of sticking around, and there's certain energies that require a little more cleaning than other energies. I live in an area where I have a lot of forests and ocean, and things like that around me. And people eat a lot of organics, and like I've chosen to be in this area to be healthy. And so the area that I live in, people don't really wear a lot of perfumes or scents. And they believe that those things are toxic. And if anything, they might wear like a pure essential oil, occasionally. But like, there are other areas where I have lived, like big cities like Chicago or San Francisco or yada yada, LA, where people just kind of like wear perfumes, like manufactured colognes and perfumes. So yesterday I was in a city and I went to a mall, and the first time I had ever been in this mall, I was like, whoa. Like, it was like when a guy walks by with too much aftershave on, and you're like, oh, somebody's trying to get lucky, right? Well, the first time I had ever been to that mall, that's how I felt. I was just like, whoa, there's so much scent. But then I got used to it. I was like, I can handle this. Like, and I've always thought scent was really interesting. So this time that I happened to be at this mall, I actually went there to like look at the scents and smell the scents and experience the scents. And I had a particular scent in mind that I was going to check out, that I had found out actually is a profile of the essential oils that I already use. And so I'm going through this mall and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm smelling all these different scents that I've heard about. I'm smelling scents that like I've researched, and in cologne and perfume form. And some of them I like couldn't even really smell. And some of them I got on like little cards or what have you. Every time I've ever gotten home from this mall, in another town, I can just smell like that mall and all the perfumes and all the colognes. I can smell it all over my things. And it like, if I purchase anything, or if my partner gets anything like that particular item, like a sweater, for example, he got a sweater for his birthday from that mall from his friend, and it's years later and it still smells like all those colognes from that mall. And so that's just an example of like energy just can really, really stick to us. And sometimes you have to be really proactive regularly. You can never do too much cutting and clearing. Don't worry that you're going to change your mind about something that you did a cut and clearing ritual or meditation around. You don't have to worry about that. Energy has a way of coming right back to you when you want it, in whatever form. Just like they made a perfume that smells exactly like my house. Like, they made a perfume that literally like smells like me. And the name that they made for it is so funny too, because like it's names that I've been called. So it's funny. Like, energy has a way of coming back easily. So you can never do too much cutting and clearing. And just have faith that anything that, you're leaving behind, if you come back for it, definitely clean up your, energy and stuff, and be conscious of your energy, but have faith that whatever it feels like you're losing, because during Scorpio season, there is this fear of loss. There's this remembering of all the times we've ever lost anything, and that fear that that feeling's going to be there forever, that it's going to be as magnanimous as it was in the beginning when we first lost it. Anything that there's like a fear of like having loss around, just know, like, just have faith. So here in this next card, we see like another place. So I look at this as like, Pisces, you're probably going through a lot of transition. A lot of you are probably moving right now from one location to another. A lot of you might be wrestling with things like ownership versus renting, or belonging versus not belonging. But this is the other side of it. Whatever you're going through here, it's so that you can belong more. There's more of a sense of belonging for you that's just waiting. So here we have the Four of Wands, and this has to do with you belong with growth, and you belong with feeling at home with the growth that's going to happen. And this is the kind of growth that's celebrated. This is the kind of growth that comes from stability. This is a different kind of stability than in this picture. Here we have the circus. This is the kind of stability where you can pick up and keep going, and you can go all over the world, and you can have something to offer the entire world, and that's wonderful and beautiful, and it brings joy and happiness and play. But this is another kind of stability where like there's a definite home, there's a definite kingdom. This is like a castle, and it's not in the sky, it's on the ground, and it's surrounded by light and joy and alertness and fiery warm energy. And you're not alone in this picture. Whereas like here, there's kind of almost a little bit of a having stepped away from where one was in order to go to where one is being. So some of you Pisces risings, Pisces sun, Pisces moons, some of you might feel like, you know, kind of leaving the situation that you've always been in because you need a little more of a sense of home. You need a little more of a celebration in a different sort of way. Oh yeah, there's even people in the background here you can see. You need a little more of like the village celebrating you in a different sort of way, not a commodification sort of way, but more of a, these, you know, there's a sense of belonging sort of celebration here. So for some of you, you might be looking at marriage, you might be looking at coming home after being away for a long period of time, or finally finding your people. And one person in particular is like going to be a major partner in this ordeal. So it's going to be the two of you with everybody supporting you. So way to go, Pisces. Anything that you're like, you know, be careful of your energy and make sure that you're selective. And, but do know that like anything that comes around that's like of a scorpionic, like possession, thievery, like those kinds of fears or energies, just have faith that whatever it is, it's gonna work out for the best, and it's gonna lead you to more of this. And I'm gonna pull one more card for you because it is Scorpio season, and this card is for any of you Pisces suns, Pisces moons, or Pisces rising who also have Scorpio in your chart. So you can look up your natal for free on astro.com, or you might just know this automatically, but or you might have something in the 8th house that's ruled by Scorpio, like predominant planets like Pisces might be there or something like that. So if you have any kind of major scorpionic energies in your chart that you resonate with, I'm going to pull from the little witchy deck today. So we've got meditation for clarity. I gave you some possibilities of what that card could be. And we're in this water trine right now, and it can be very reflective. And the world is your oyster as far as what you choose to look at in that reflection. You know, this person could zero in on the candle behind her and how the smoke of it moves through that water, or she could zero in on how her cat looks in the reflection. So she could be looking at the sky in that reflection. But just know it's a reflection. And the thing about reflections, similar to energy, this is the other thing I wanted to tell you about energy. The thing about reflections, similar to energy, is energy has a way of sticking to us. And a lot of energy, 99% of everything we experience in our life is a projection. It is what someone else is saying that they see in your reflection of you. So let's say these are the other people, and they can only see what they are, where they are coming from, and what's already programmed in their mind to see. So initially, when people first like interact with you, unless you go really deep for a really long time, you might get to have that 1% experience of perception, actual real perception. But for the most part, there's a lot of projecting going on. So people's energy can stick to you. Like it can stick to you, and that energy, when it's been transformed or distilled or projected back upon you, might not be what's really happening with you. So for example, like in this particular reflection, we can see that her pink shirt isn't necessarily so obvious. Her striped pants are not necessarily so obvious in this particular angle of this reflection. What we can see is that there's a lot of pink in the sky, though. So we might think, oh, the sky is all pink around her, but we might not actually notice, well, she's wearing a pink shirt and she has pink stripes in her pants. And she got purple. It's not just the sky that's purple and pink. There's purple and pink happening in her outfit. Or the sky might not even be purpley and pink. For all we know, those colors could be reflecting off of her shirt onto the reflection. So what we see happening when we look is a projection. It may or may not be true. It's similar to this, there could be thievery happening here, but those swords don't look sharp either. Or they could simply be moving. You could have faith that it's all working out. He could just simply be moving things from one place to another. Things could just be shifting from the circus to something more established. So that's the thing to remember, just kind of similar to like all the perfumes that I can smell and the things that I got from that ball the other day, yesterday. The projections can have a way of sticking on you. So remember that. And I'm just going to go ahead and share one more little piece here. Hey, not yet. I saw Frankenstein in the theater, the Guillermo del Toro version. And the first half of the film, the creator who believes that he created a monster, that's his belief and that's his projection. Because of his own internalized guilt and his own internalized sorrow over losing his mother and all this jazz, and his like grief, he believes that even though he's created something miraculous and phenomenal and amazing and groundbreaking, he has even attracted a person who will tell him that the people around him are even telling him he's the monster. But he's projected that this creation of this being is a monster. And maybe you have been told in your lifetime that people feel like they've created a monster. All of those things are projections. In many ways, the idea that someone knows you better than you know yourself, it's only true if you take on that projection. It's up to you what the truest story is for you. So yeah, that's like another thing. Just think about that. I know the dog was barking when I was saying that, but just realize that what other people have to say about you, it's a projection. 9 times out of 10, it's not the true story or the real story or the whole story. It's what they see from their view. Like someone could be saying like, oh, you're walking around looking like a streetwalker, but you just got out of the gym and you're wearing your sloppy clothes that you would wear at the gym, and they're talking from their projection. Maybe they feel guilty that they slept with the handyman and they're like, feeling, you just got to remember that other people's energy and all kinds of energy is not, you pick and choose what energy you're going to keep on you and what energy you want to magnify, and you need to be constantly clearing away. The world is your oyster, and whatever you want to see reflected in this pool is your portal for your own decision of what the truth and the reality to be. And that's a really hard thing for a lot of people to get, but you can get this. If you can definitely get this. So water can understand this, and I know that you can. You are not defined by who your mother was or who your father was or who your brothers or your sisters or the family lineage that you came from does not fully define you. Those are circumstances surrounding you and might be a little part of your ego structure, but it's not all you are. So that's all I got for you on this particular reading, but enjoy your readings, and cheers and good luck, Pisces Sun, Pisces Risings, and Pisces Moon.